Roxo Media House.
Liked watching Baker Mayfield growing up as well, and Kyler Murray, those two OU guys. I watched a lot of film on them. Just kind of the passion that Baker plays with is a lot of fun. It's fun to watch, and just kind of taking bits and pieces from elite quarterbacks. I've watched a lot of Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud this offseason. Obviously, the top two quarterbacks in the country last year. So watching from them and kind of putting some new weapons in my arsenal.
This is Frogs Today Daily. And here's your host, the voice of the Frogs, Brian Estridge.
Frogs Today Daily here on the Wednesday for the Sam Baugh Indoor Practice Facility. They practiced outside today. We thought we would step in because you got some NFL greats who are behind us right now benefiting from the facilities here at TCU, including Kansas City Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes, among others, kind of a who's who of the NFL behind us right now. Practice 13 just wrapped up for Sonny Dykes' team. He was pleased with the progress they continue to make. Talked about situational football, put them in situations, wanted to challenge them mentally here today, the offense, and thought they responded quite well. The last couple of days have been good for Chandler Morris, the Frog quarterback. We'll hear from him a little bit later on. We'll also hear from the head coach, Sonny Dykes. But let's start in the interview room with Emani Bailey, the transfer from Louisiana out of Denton. He talked about how he's adjusting to the new offense.
I'm loving it. It's kind of familiar to me coming from, that similar offense from Louisiana.
Frog running back Emani Bailey joining us in the interview room after practice number 13. He talked about the fact that he learned from a great room last year. At Kentre Miller, we mentioned the comparison. A lot of folks have Emani Bailey to Amari DiMaccardo. Here's what he said about learning from those men last year here at TCU.
Last year was a learning moment. Just being the best teammate I can. Playing my role to the best of my ability. And just helping any part of the game I can, and I was fortunate enough to, learn from Kendra and Amari, and they actually was teaching me, how, this next level works, and watching them and seeing them, I was able to go out and help win any form of fashion I can, and it was a blessing.
Not only does he have former running backs like that who've been pushing him, he also gets pushed from his running back coach, Anthony Jones Jr., the running back coach here at TCU. He talked about the relationship that they have and how Coach Jones gets the most out of him.
Coach Jones, he's been pushing me to find the best in myself. And Coach Jones, when he says he sees something in you, he means it. He wants you to go out and be the best you. He doesn't want you to be average at anything that you do. He wants you to go perform at the highest level. And I love Coach Jones for that.
In addition to Emani Bailey, it's a running back room that is diverse, folks. They can play any game you name, especially now with the addition of Trey Sanders, the bigger back, the transfer from Alabama, that Emani says brings a whole new dimension to that running back room.
Oh, Trey being here is a blessing. Having him in the RB room is added an extra fuel, and it's added an extra, fashion of fun. It's not so much of, who's it going to be or who's it not going to be. We're just all having fun together, and we all just working with each other and ready to go do it with each other.
One of the big adjustments of this offense for many of these guys has been the quick passing game that Kendall Briles has brought to it. Amani says that fits his game, though, quite well.
Yeah, I've been absolutely comfortable with that. Growing up, I was always taught to be able to catch out the backfield, block. It's big things for running backs to have, out on the field. You got to be able to pass block, you got to be able to catch. And having it, in this offense is definitely – it's not so much of a push, but it's more of a reminder, and it's going to be very helpful.
Emani Bailey wanted to brag on his offensive teammates when we asked how explosive this group could be. As you might imagine, Emani thinks the sky's the limit for him.
This offense is going to be very explosive, especially with the teammates we have. We have a lot of speed, a lot of power, and we're gonna make it happen. You know what I'm saying? We ain't gonna hold nothing back. We're going to let the offense show what the ability we have on the team show in the game.
Then it got personal for Emani Bailey. His younger brother, Jordan Bailey, is here now at TCU, a wide receiver. High hopes for this young man. And Emani talked about having his brother on the team with him.
It's all glory to God. You know, it's a blessing in disguise. This is something me and my little brother have been talking about since we was little. You know, and having him here with me is just, you know, extra fuel to me. You know, I'm showing him everything that I've been through, and now he's going through everything that I've been through. You know, and it's good to see how time flies and how everything just happens so quick, and, you know, living a dream with each other. And all I got is glory to God.
And then finally we had to ask, all right, there's a relationship there, but how good is the younger brother compared to the big boy?
He's been adjusting well. All he needs is one play, and he gonna show the world what's up. You know, he's very fast, he's physical, he's strong, and especially for his size, he can do anything. He could play my position, he could do everything. And I definitely know he's gonna be a big role model.
That's Emani Bailey, the Frog running back, joining us in the interview room post-practice number 13. Up next, Chandler Morris joins us, TCU quarterback. We'll get his take on spring practice to date. We do that next when Frogs Today Daily continues after this timeout.
At Higginbotham, we put people first. So we simply start by listening to you. Whether you're searching for customized insurance, HR, or financial solutions to protect your home, car, health, business, or employees, our specialists are here to serve you, the people you care about, and your success. Higginbotham. Insurance, HR, and financial services. Inspired by you.
Texas-based Happy Water offers the best-tasting, sugar-free kids drink ever made. Happy Water comes in 4 delicious flavors that you can find at local retailers and on Amazon. Each pouch contains 0 grams of sugar, 0 calories, and 0% juice. Head to happydrinks.com for more information and to purchase Happy Water. That's HAPIdrinks.com. Live happy, be happy, drink happy.
The Flying T Club provides the everyday TCU fan and alum the ability to specifically support TCU student athletes. Flying T Club offers 3 levels of memberships. The Flying T Club is a nonprofit organization supporting the brand development of TCU student athletes through a series of unique event-based networking opportunities, which are exclusive to our members. These events provide a great social engagement tool for our members and student athletes alike. Follow them on Instagram at Flying T Club or online at flyingtclub.com.
I feel much better than we felt on day one, obviously, with the offense. Coach Browse and them, they thrown a lot at us, which, I mean, it's been really good because when fall camp comes around, I mean, none of this is going to be foreign to us. So it's kind of the growing pains that I kind of compared it to. I said to him, I was like, it's just part of the growing pains. We got to go through it to get where we want to be. But we've really enjoyed it.
That's Chandler Morris, the Frog quarterback, talking about how he has seen this team progress so far, where they are currently as spring practice starts to wrap up with Friday Night Lights coming up on Friday night, obviously, at Amon Carter Stadium. We also had a chance to talk to Chandler about a couple of different aspects of this offense, namely the fact that this pocket moves around and how that fits his game.
I think so. I think I'm very accurate when I get out of the pocket also. That's a strength of mine, so they're kind of figuring that out and really putting that in and kind of letting me use that more. So I feel really comfortable in the pocket or outside the pocket.
As is every spring ball, there's an opportunity to really work on some things. And Chandler talked about what he was focused on this spring. What did he need to get better at, and where he thinks he may have seen his most improvement?
I think putting the ball down in the flats. Obviously, I got to watch Max last year, and he's really good at that. He's very mature. So I think I've done a good job. I knew it, but putting it out on the field's easier said than done. And I think I've done a good job. Now, I'll get caught every now and then trying to be greedy, but I think I've done a much better job than I have in fall camp last year and last spring.
Obviously, with the addition of John Paul Richardson's and Joe Earls of the world, the slot receivers here at TCU have been a bright spot. He talked about the play of that group.
They've been phenomenal. I mean, they're all pushing each other in that room. A lot of speed, and they're very smart, which I think really separates them from everyone else. They know how to get open, and they know what they're doing on their routes and kind of the zones that they're looking for and all that stuff. So they've been phenomenal.
Those aren't the only targets that he has. Jared Wiley, the tight end, has become, primary target in this offense thanks to what Kendall Briles brings here with this offensive scheme. Chandler Morris talked about his tight end from earlier today.
I think he'd be really good. I mean, he's already really good. I think he's getting more opportunities in this offense, which is good for him. And I mean, a lot of people don't know how fast he is, and he's very athletic, and he can get in and out. And you get him matched up on a nickel or a backer. I mean, that's a matchup we want, especially on safeties as well. I mean, I like that matchup. And then obviously him and the run blocking scheme and all the stuff that we can do, kind of split flow and getting him out, leaking him out in the flats as well. So it's going to be very difficult for defenses to kind of keep up with him.
Well, you've talked about the tight ends now. We talked to Emani Bailey about the quick passing game. So what's the biggest difference between this year's offense and last? We asked that of the quarterback, Chandler Morris.
Definitely tempo and RPOs. I mean, tempo, we're obviously going fast. RPOs, a lot of run pass options. And you got to make a decision quick. You got to be decisive. Even if you don't make the right decision, you still got to be decisive. And most of the time, you can beat them with the throw on a quick throw, getting it in the flats, and those slots are going to make you correct.
Obviously, terminology is different with every offense. We asked if it was different. And by the way, is it simpler now that this terminology is different under Kendall Briles?
Way different. I mean, this is my fourth year, fourth different system. And it's extreme. It's way different. And I've had a little bit of a learning curve. It's probably been the most challenging that I've learned, which, I mean, it's great because there's a lot on the quarterback. But I've definitely had to really dig in and get a grasp of it. And it comes with experience and practices also, but I'm really enjoying it. It's simplified because it's more like one word stuff because we're going so fast. So he just wants to signal it. And everybody knows. Sometimes we don't have a formation, so everyone needs to know where they're going on their alignments, where the ball is.
Well, with Patrick Mahomes behind us, we had to ask Chandler Morris, what quarterback does he emulate? He rolled off a couple of three guys, pretty good players, that he says he tries to mimic in his game.
Deshaun Watson. I mean, I grew up watching him. Obviously, he coached Deshaun. He recruited him since he was a freshman in high school. Keep in touch with him and watching his style, he knows when to take off running. He doesn't use his legs too much, but he knows when to get out of trouble with his feet. And then obviously his accuracy and his arm. I try to model my game after that. And then I liked watching Baker Mayfield growing up as well, and Kyler Murray, those two OU guys. I watched a lot of film on them. Just kind of the passion that Baker plays with is a lot of fun. It's fun to watch, and just kind of taking bits and pieces from elite quarterbacks. I've watched a lot of Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud this offseason. Obviously, the top two quarterbacks in the country last year. So watching from them and kind of putting some new weapons in my arsenal.
And we couldn't let the TCU quarterback get away without talking a little defense, too. What he's seen out of Joe Gillespie's group now in year two.
I've been very complimentary of them. I mean, I've been telling them in the locker room they're disguising so much better than they have been. I mean, even last year during season, late in the season, obviously it's their second year in the system. A bunch of guys returning on that back end at that safety position, up front, linebackers also. They're doing a great job disguising. They have confidence in what they're doing. And they know what they're doing pre-snap, so they know how to disguise it well, and they're confident that they're going to get in the right spot.
That's Chandler Morris, TCU quarterback, joining us in the interview room. Now let's switch gears and head to the head coach, Sonny Dykes, post-practice. He talked about the progress that this team has made in the several weeks leading up to Friday Night Lights. Here's Coach Dykes in his press conference in his own words.
There's always this fine line in the spring about – you kind of get to that point where, you feel like you've gotten what you needed to get done, and you're trying to keep guys healthy, and at the same time also, create a mindset, where you go out and you practice hard every single day, no matter what, and, every single rep is important, and we're still learning that. I mean, I think that's always a challenge, and especially in spring football, and especially the last week of spring football, you just got to come in, you got to show up, you got to be really focused. We got to, continue to do a lot of things situationally. That's one of the, the common themes that we talk about all the time is being good at situational football. We did some stuff today, and we continue to make mistakes and you learn from them, and that's kind of how this stuff takes place. And you want to make as many of those mistakes as you can in April, and you want to make them again in August, so you're not making them in September through January. And that's kind of the goal, is to create a lot of film to watch and learn from and get corrected. I think the biggest thing for us is always the same thing. Who are the guys that you can really completely count on? I think that's the thing. And when you say, okay, what does that mean? That means a lot. Just who consistently stays healthy, who consistently practices and performs at a high level, who is somebody that is can always be on time and be accountable and be a good team guy, and just so it's an all-encompassing thing. Learning who you can trust and believe in every day, and there are guys that in the spring, make a bigger jump maybe than you thought. A guy that comes to mind is Josh Hoover. I think is probably, we liked what we saw in the fall when he was running the scout team, but I think he's probably made as big a jump as anybody. And that's good. That's what you want to see. And then there's other guys that you wish they made a little bit bigger jump and are, fall a little bit behind and start to get passed up by some young players. And that's always good. I mean, we have a lot of an inflection of good young talent, whether it's transfers or early graduates. And those guys have come in and pushed some of the older guys and created some good competition battles that will continue to fall camp. And that's what you want to see. And then also, too, just checking your work as a coach and making sure that you're putting the right players in the right positions, to make sure you're getting your best guys on the field, whether it's your best 5-0 lineman, your best 3D lineman, regardless of whether it's a nose or an end, just making sure that, your second best D lineman or O lineman's not splitting reps with the first guy, and so you got to get them all spread out properly and get it distributed the right way. And then you build that first layer of guys you can trust, and then you start working on 1.5, where you say, okay, we have an outside receiver that we feel good about, maybe that can play both spots, and then hopefully you get to 2 deep, and then, at some point, hopefully you get to 3 deep. And so that's kind of what we're trying to get through right now. And we've had some players that haven't practiced much this year, some new faces that we think we know what we're going to get with those guys, but, you're not completely sure until you get it. I think the good thing about what we're doing offensively is, if you got a running quarterback, then you can major in your quarterback running the ball. But if you don't, then you can major in guys distributing the ball and getting the ball out to guys quickly that can make plays. And, we have 2 quarterbacks that are really good at throwing screens. Both of them have a very quick catch and distribute the ball. They're good at doing that. They do it quickly. They're accurate. They're good mid-range throwers. I think the addition of more quick game, I think, is going to be positive for us, and I think fits what those guys do well. I think also, both of them do a good job throwing on the run, getting out of the pocket, and I think our ability to move the pocket maybe a little bit more than we have in the past and get on the perimeter suits both quarterbacks, and so I feel good about what we're doing. And it's always the same. You throw all this stuff at the wall and you see what sticks, and then you take that and build your personnel around it and see what your quarterbacks are comfortable doing, and that becomes your offense and your identity. Yeah. I mean, I think the biggest thing, Kendall brings is a track record of success, confidence. I think he's a great communicator with our players. I think he does a great job building relationships with young people, current players on our team, also recruiting relationships. I think that's one of his biggest strengths. I think he's a really good communicator, really upfront, honest guy. And, I think that resonates with people. I think there's not a lot of fluff with him, and I think that's a good thing. And as I said earlier, I think he's a really, really good communicator. I think that he's, got a real forward, direct approach. And like I said, I think it resonates with everybody, really, but especially young people. Yeah, that's our model. Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's our model, is to number one, recruit DFW. That's number one. Our goal is to get them the first go around. But TCU didn't get them the first go around, and so the important thing is to make sure we get them the second go around. If somebody is from the Metroplex and they go off to school A and they're not happy at school A, we want them to come back and be happy at school B, which is TCU. And that was kind of our model where we were before. And, I think it worked for us, and we were able to get find some players that really moved the needle, and probably the biggest one being Shane Buechele. But man, there's the transfer portal allows you to go out and find players and really kind of build your roster the way you want to. And, we want it to be guys that love football, and we want it to be guys that appreciate the opportunity to play at home, because, there's nothing like it. When your dad can come watch practice, or your family can come watch practice, or, after your spring game, you're going to have, 30, 40 family members at a game, cousins and nephews and uncles and aunts and all the stuff. I think that's a big deal, for young people, is to feel that support. And when they can feel it, because they can come, they can jump in the car and drive over here to Fort Worth and support these young people. And I think that makes a big difference. I would love to be able to do that, play a real game against somebody. I don't think it's going to happen. I'm kind of in the belief that spring football will eventually go away. I kind of think that we'll have a little bit more of a pro model where we have some, helmets only practices in the spring, and then have a little bit maybe in summer, before camp starts. I think that 2 weeks in April and 2 weeks in June will probably be something at some point that we'll get to without a whole lot of contact. And it seemed like it was kind of headed that way, and it seems like that some people have put the brakes on it, but I think that's where we'll eventually get to. But I love spring ball the way it is right now. I wish, as you said, we could have a scrimmage, and I think it'd be great to play against somebody. But at the same time, our goal is to always get our team better first and foremost, and make sure we don't cut our nose off to spite our face in terms of getting guys injured. I want to have success in the spring, but having success in September and January is a lot more important to me. I think it'll be more like kind of NFL mini camps, really, as much as anything else. I think you'll get them for a while, and you'll get to spend some time with them and do football stuff, but I think it'll be less contact. Now, again, we'll see. I thought it would have been that way already by now, and it hasn't been, so I probably don't know what I'm talking about.
Coach Sonny Dykes getting ready for Friday Night Lights. We look forward to seeing you out here on Friday night at Amon Carter Stadium for this one. Thanks to Chandler Morris, also to Emani Bailey for stopping by, and the head coach, Sonny Dykes. Thanks for joining us here on Frogs Today Daily. We'll have a report for you after Friday Night Lights on Friday night, so give you kind of a synopsis of the entire spring and what we saw out of that spring game as well. So stay tuned for that here at Frogs Today and FrogsToday.com. Make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe to Frogs Today and FrogsToday.com. Tell your friends we need you for complete TCU coverage. Stay with us here at Frogs Today and FrogsToday.com. Have yourself a great night.
Shout out Frogs Today. Shout out Frogs Today.
Roxo Media House.